Warm greetings from San Diego, California. On behalf of the Board of Directors at the United Nations Association San Diego Chapter, our members, and extended community, I thank our partners at the San Francisco Chapter of the United Nations Association for creating an engaging and festive celebration of signing of the UN Charter. As one of the few oldest chapters in the world, we are especially proud to be included in today's 75th anniversary. On June 26, 1945, our members actively took part in ensuring that the UN Charter included both a mandate to advance human rights and a provision allowing for the formal participation of civil society organizations in United Nations deliberations. I have the great honor to introduce keynote speaker Lisa Laskaridis, United Nations Public Information Officer and Head of Communications for UN 75. The UN 75 initiative is launched by the UN Secretary General in January 2020. UN 75 is the world's largest and most inclusive conversation aiming to strengthen global cooperation on the future we want. Before joining the UN Secretariat, Lisa led the press and communication efforts at the permanent mission of Sweden to the UN, conceptualizing and implementing the public diplomacy strategy, delivering on Sweden's foreign policy priorities during its 2-year term on the UN Security Council. In 2017, Lisa was awarded Innovator of the Year from the Foreign Ministry for delivering cutting-edge advocacy campaigns. I welcome Lisa Laskaridis.
Thank you, dear Bettina, for that very warm introduction. Dear friends, greetings from New York City. I cannot properly express how honored I am to speak to you today on the 75th anniversary of the signing of the UN Charter. Thank you, United Nations Association USA, San Francisco, and San Diego for hosting this commemoration event and for inviting me to be a part of it. I am someone who, for as long as I can remember, have looked to the UN with dreams and hope. I ended up where I am today because of the important work and passionate members I met at 2 UN associations, Stockholm, Sweden, and Melbourne, Australia. And now I'm part of a small team that is trying to engage the whole world in a conversation on our future. A conversation that could make a mark in history. Needless to say, we need your help. We cannot do it without your help, and we cannot do it without your voice. So thank you. The Charter of the United Nations was signed in San Francisco, 26th of June, 1945. A photograph of President Truman, taken on that day 75 years ago, standing beside the US representative that was signing the Charter, captures a singular moment of hope for humanity. While we seem to continue to live in different versions of turbulent times, while we continue to adapt to an ever-changing global landscape, the timeless values of the Charter remain the foundation for shared progress. The Charter created then is more than a document of history. It is the blueprint for the only global intergovernmental organization we have. The values of the UN Charter must remain our guide today, at a time when the world faces unprecedented challenges. The spirit of the United Nations is to persevere, especially in the face of grim circumstances. COVID-19 has underscored how interconnected we are and how crucial it is for us to work together across borders, sectors, and across generations, as much as it reflects the hopes, aspirations, the ideals of we the peoples. The Charter also reflects a very pragmatic calculation by hard-nosed world leaders that the costs of cooperation and compromise are far lower than the costs of war. And we need this combination today. We need this combination of aspiration, pragmatism, idealism, and enlightened self-interest. The past weeks have shown that huge transformations are possible when political will aligns itself with public support. Now is the time to put into practice the commitment to future generations that is central to the Charter, and to make progress on the future we want and the UN we need to achieve that vision. That is the spirit in which the UN 75th anniversary was conceived last year, not as a celebration, but as a moment of reflection, of listening, of coming together as a human family to discuss how we can overcome the big trends shaping our future. UN 75, a global consultation and the world's largest conversation, was initiated to better understand people's hopes and fears, as well as their ideas for action. This is our most ambitious exercise to date to gather public opinion and to crowdsource solutions. We want this anniversary to be a turning point in bringing people closer together and in bringing their priorities to us so that we can better serve them and future generations. Our shared duty is to unite our strength to serve we the peoples. We know that 2020 is not going to be remembered for being the UN 75th anniversary. This year will be defined by COVID-19, by the decisions we take to tackle this crisis and hopefully to rebuild better. We do not know the extent to which this pandemic is going to shape our future or our ability to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, but we do know that it's much more than a health crisis. COVID-19 has exposed the underlying weaknesses and entrenched inequalities in all our systems. The disadvantaged, the discriminated, the poor, the marginalized. As ever, they have been hit the hardest, and it is they who will feel the impact for much longer. It is absolutely vital that we listen to them. That is what UN 75 is about. Our mission is even more important because we have a chance to give people from all walks of life a say in the decisions that are taken now, to ensure that these decisions put us on the right track to a better future. The Secretary General has called on us to recover better from this crisis and to build sustainable, inclusive, and resilient societies and economies. This will require action by all stakeholders: peoples, communities, cities, businesses, foundations. And it's not only the Secretary General who is urging us to rebuild better and stronger. More than 250,000 people from all 195 UN member and observer states have told us their priorities. The majority thinks climate change will be the global trend defining our future. The majority believe that access to healthcare is the top priority for recovering better from this pandemic, followed by greater solidarity between people and nations and rethinking the global economy. The majority across all regions and all age groups and all social groups believe in global cooperation and that working together is the only way we can secure a future. Every single voice matters. One voice, one idea can have an impact, and collectively these voices have power. There is power as people march across the world for their rights, for justice, for climate action. There is power in people coming together to call for a better future for all. The engagement, ambition, and passion of civil society is essential. UNA, USA is essential. You are a bridge between people in this country and the United Nations. You are bringing the voices of your communities to the global arena. You are helping to ensure that the UN listens to the people it serves. At this moment, thousands of UN 75 dialogues have been held across the world. UNA USA have held dialogues in all 50 US states, Washington DC and Puerto Rico, and this is an incredible achievement. Congratulations and thank you so much. I was very fortunate to participate in the UN 75 dialogue organized by UNA San Diego just a few weeks ago, and it completely filled me with energy. It was the first time I actually had the opportunity to join the conversation rather than encourage it. And I now encourage you to gather a group of people, conservatives, liberals, grandmothers, bikers, neighbors, any group, to talk, but to really talk. To talk about the global challenges defining our future, and more importantly, how we will tackle them. We want to hear from people from all sectors and all segments of society. We call on you to voice your opinions, to put your ideas and solutions on the table for discussion, so that together we can craft the brave, innovative, and meaningful policy solutions required to address our shared challenges. We cannot afford to leave anyone behind. Now is the time to lift everyone up. If we succeed, then we will look back at 2020 not as a year of crisis and disaster, but as the year when we finally changed course and put ourselves on track to a safer, fairer, and more sustainable future. One voice alone can move our hearts and change our perspective. Millions of voices could possibly change our world. Thank you so much.